Thank you for your warm welcome here at the University of Denver. I thank you so much. I see Congressman Bob Schaefer here. Bob, thank you for being here. And Greg Maffei, congratulations on all of your success. I would, as I always do, like to recognize our young people from the organization called One that go to places in the world to try to help others, the epitome of what young America is all about. And I'd also, of course, like to thank my friend Senator Hank Brown, who I've had the privilege of serving with for many, many years. You know about his stewardship of one of the nation's great universities. You know of his service in the United States Senate, the House of Representatives, the United States Marine Corps. So maybe I could tell you something that a lot of people don't know about Hank Brown, and that is that he was one of the only members of the United States Congress who took an interest in what was happening in Afghanistan after the collapse of the Soviet Union and the Russian withdrawal. If we'd paid more attention to Hank Brown at that time, which, by the way, is well chronicled in one of the great books called Ghost Wars, if you're ever interested in what happened in Afghanistan, Hank is a man of many dimensions and a person who I admire, and I know the people of Colorado share my view. Thank you very much, Hank. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hank. For much of our history, the world considered the United States a young country. Today, we are the world's oldest constitutional democracy, yet we remain a young nation. We still possess the attributes of youth: spirit, energy, vitality, and creativity. America will always be young as long as we're looking forward and leading to a better world. Innovation and energetic American leadership is as vital to the world's future today as it was during the Cold War. I've spent my life in public service, working to ensure our great nation is strong enough to counter those who wish us ill. To be an effective leader in the 21st century, however, it's not enough to be strong. We must be a model for others. That means not only pursuing our own interests, but recognizing that we share interests with peoples across our planet. There's no such thing as good international citizenship, and America must be a good citizen of the world, leading the way to address the danger of global warming and preserve our environment, strengthening existing international institutions, and helping to build new ones, and engaging the world in a broad dialogue on the threat of violent extremists who would, if they could, use weapons of mass destruction to attack us and our allies. Today, we also need to apply our spirit of optimism, energy, and innovation to a crisis that's been building for decades, but is now coming to a head: the global spread of weapons. 45 years ago, President John Kennedy asked the American people to imagine what the world would look like if nuclear weapons spread beyond the few powers that then held them to the many other nations that sought them. Stop and think for a moment, he said, what it would mean to have nuclear weapons in so many hands, in the hands of countries large and small, stable and unstable. You know, it's not too important, but I have town hall meetings all the time. I'll be having one tomorrow where people are allowed to come and state their views, and we exchange them. And the one thing we don't do is interfere with other people's right to free speech, but that doesn't seem to be the case with these with these people. But anyway, if I could get back to Jack Kennedy a second. He said, stop and think a moment. What it would mean to have nuclear weapons in so many hands, in the hands of countries large and small, stable and unstable, responsible and irresponsible, scattered throughout the world. If that happened, he warned, there would be no rest for anyone. Kennedy's warning resonates more today than ever before. North Korea pursues a nuclear weapons program to the point where today the dictator Kim Jong-il has tested a nuclear weapon and almost certainly possesses several more nuclear warheads. And it has shared its nuclear and missile know-how with others, including Syria. It's a vital national interest for the North Korean nuclear program to be completely, verifiably, and irreversibly ended. Likewise, we've seen Iran marching with single-minded determination toward the same goal, authenticated again today by the IAEA. President Ahmadinejad has threatened to wipe Israel off the face of the earth and represents a threat to every country in the region, one we cannot ignore or minimize. You know, thanks, my friend. Thanks. You know, this may turn into a longer speech than you had anticipated. And by the way, I will never surrender in Iraq, my friends. I will never surrender in Iraq. Our American troops will come home with victory and with honor. And that's my message to my friends. And we are winning. But back to the subject at hand. Other nations have begun to wonder whether they too need to have such weapons, if only in self-defense. As a result, we could find ourselves in a world where a dozen or more nations, small and large, stable and unstable, responsible and irresponsible, have viable nuclear weapons programs. But there's a flip side to President Kennedy's warning. We should stop and think for a moment, not only the perils of a world awash with nuclear weapons, but also of the more hopeful alternative, a world in which there are far fewer such weapons than there are today, and in which proliferation, instability, and nuclear terrorism are far less likely. This is the world it is our responsibility to